How do you stay true to yourself as a pageant girl, as a young person as well?
The way I say, it's really not easy, but if you have a certain goal and a certain vision, then you know that there's only either one path or two paths, but you know exactly where it's leading you to.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another special episode. Today's episode, we're joined by Miss Gauteng finalist, Bathabile. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming on the safe space. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. Yeah.
All right, cool. We want to talk about your journey, your pageant journey, and some of the things that you've done in the pageant industry as well. And what was your introduction to pageantry?
Okay, so as he has mentioned, that my name is Bathabile Mabi, 16 years old, and I am a Miss Gauteng finalist for the year 2026. And I advocate for education empowerment, where I partner with organizations to improve STEM in South Africa.
Oh, that's perfect. How are you feeling with your as a finalist for Miss Gauteng?
How am I feeling? I feel very amazing, and also I feel like I'm cared for in the pageant. I feel like it's a space for me to properly grow, because there's certain platforms where we aren't able to necessarily grow, or we just do things ourselves. But with Miss Gauteng, we are trained, we attend workshops, and So it's an amazing pageant to enter, especially when you're beginning with pageantry. Yeah.
Do you consider this as your first pageant?
Not necessarily, but the first pageant I'll be competing in finals.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. How do you stay motivated as a 16-year-old pageant girl?
Sometimes when you have a support system around you, especially my mother, she supports me so much. Right. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your mother, but you do need a support system. Yeah. People are going to motivate you. People who are going to tell you that it's not the end of the world when you fail at something.
Right. Oh, that's amazing, I think most of the time when we have finalists on the show, it's usually people that show gratitude, they have the support system, How do you feel, maybe for some kids that don't relate to the conversation of the support system from your parents, how do you encourage other parents to also support their kids as well?
I think parents should, even though they're not able to be there in most places that their daughters or their sons have to go to, I do suggest that they can just motivate them, tell them it's not the end of the world, help them where they need help, and not just leave them to do their own things, because we are still growing, we're all still learning, it's not something we already know. So parents, they know more, or guardians, they know more, so they know how to guide us to the right paths.
That's amazing. What are you mostly looking forward to in your current as a finalist?
I'm so excited to make a proper change in education. Witnessing firsthand the education barriers in Johannesburg, where I'm from, it just made me want to change the situation. It made me want to have education equality. Right. Yes.
All right, that's amazing. How do you balance school-wise and pageantry as well?
Scheduling, planning, just everything. So I know that after school I start maybe 1 hour, 2 hours of pageantry, then the rest of my afternoon or night I can do school. So that doesn't work if I just freestyle, I need to properly plan either in the morning or the week before, just to know exactly where I'm at in my afternoons.
Yeah, that's amazing. What legacy do you want to leave behind for someone that is looking up to you?
I want people to make a change when they can. If we just watch a problem and we don't do anything about it, then we are part of the problem, So if there's something you can change, do something about it, post about it if you have the platform as well. So we can't just be saying that, oh, this is a problem, but we're not implementing anything.
True.
Yes.
That is amazing, The fact that you're 16 and you know how to articulate yourself. That is so amazing. Maybe what's one advice to someone that might consider pageantry?
Plan, 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 train, and put your heart to it.
Right. As a 16-year-old, right, I believe that you have so many dreams that you want to achieve. Could be in pageantry, could be outside of pageantry. What's your dream pageantry when you think about it?
My dream pageantry in the teen category is Teen Universe. However, in the Miss category, it's Miss South Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
That is amazing. If you win Miss Teen Gauteng, what are you hoping to use the platform?
So as a Miss Teen Gauteng, I see myself being able to create an app for people who are underprivileged and people who cannot afford tutors. Yeah. I see myself being able to visit schools and motivate them, especially young girls in STEM, which is why I'm in partnership with an organization called Teach South Africa, where we just empower young people in STEM, and they do visit schools as well. Yeah. And they also have like workshops where we can deal with different types of learning, such as with people with special needs or people who aren't mentally coping.
Yeah. Have you ever dealt with any mental breakdown?
Yeah, almost all the time, I won't lie, but just the motivation, it's just support that I need, and it's okay to have a mental breakdown. It's normal to have a mental breakdown. It's just the way you take care of it and the way you just,
Okay. How do you balance volunteering with Tech SA and promoting STEM with your own creative projects?
So with volunteering, I usually just volunteer during holidays, knowing that I don't have school or anything, and it's usually during the week. However, with Teach South Africa, it's during the weekend, so I schedule properly. And before I am in partnership or collaboration with a certain organization, I need to check if they fit my schedule.
This is so nice. What's the most rewarding part about inspiring others, and how do you stay inspired yourself?
The most rewarding part about inspiring others is seeing them implement your inspiration and seeing them win or seeing them grow in their journey, especially when they believed that they couldn't. And what inspires me the most is seeing pageant queens still continue joining pageants. After a pageant or two, it may be exhausting, but there's so many pageant queens who are able to join 5 more pageants or 3 pageants in a year. So that inspires me that maybe 1 pageant in 1 year is not bad,
Right. Okay, that's amazing. How have you been blending well with the sisterhood from Miss Teen Gauteng?
The sisterhood from Miss Teen Gauteng is so amazing because when there's tasks that we need to do, we can ask each other, maybe if there's radio interviews or there's different interviews, we can ask each other, where did you do this and where did you do that? And they can basically suggest, So you're not on your own with sisterhood of Miss Teen Gauteng, and they do encourage us to always be together, to stick together, and to help each other all the time because we aren't alone.
Yeah, that is amazing. What are how do you stay motivated when you don't feel confident?
I look at my vision board.
Right.
I always have a vision board, either when I start a pageant or beginning of the year, So I always have a vision that this is what I'm working towards. And mental breakdowns won't really get me to where I want to be, especially if it's where my heart leads me to and not my brain.
Yeah. Oh, that is so amazing for a 16-year-old to stay connected like that. Oh, that is so amazing. How do you think young people can make a real difference in their communities?
I think it first starts with community service. Yeah. If you can help people who don't know how to help themselves. Yeah. And this is not just about money, but it's about visiting a daycare and being able to serve the kids for lunch, help with meal preps, nap time, and everything, So it's just community service. You can clean your community if you can see that, hey, go bad la, So you can just do anything. It's not always going to be about the money or how much impact you're going to leave, as long as it's something little, then to the person who's receiving your service, it's going to be something big.
Yeah. How do you stay true to yourself as a pageant girl, as a young person as well?
The way I say, it's really not easy, but if you have a certain goal and a certain vision, then you know that there's only either one path or two paths, but you know exactly where it's leading you to.
That is amazing. How do you handle the pageant pressure? Because I know the grand finale is approaching, and how do you prep? How are you also staying grounded, in your advocacy and also your pageant journey as well?
Okay. I always before anything, especially when I'm training for pageantry, before anything, I watch videos of breathing exercises because panic attacks are so real. They are so real, so I need to continue doing my breathing exercises and preparing better, and with the pressure that's coming, I just think don't pressurize yourself. Because there's always time, there's always that 2 hours, there's always that 1 hour, you don't have to wait for the last hour to do something, so you just need to prepare however much time you have. You don't have to beat yourself up for it. I only have a week left, I can't do much. Do what you can.
Prepare on time as well.
Sizobona phambili.
How are you preparing for the big day, which is the pageant finale?
So basically, from Monday to Fridays, right, I have an hour of pageantry in my schedule. So I know that, okay, maybe on Mondays I'm just walking. On Tuesdays I'm preparing for my interviews. On Thursdays I do a certain routine, so you need to prepare for the finale. Then, each day you prepare what you're going to focus on, rather than just doing everything at once, because then you're going to get confused and nothing is really going to, get into your mind. Yeah,
that's so true, Maybe to someone who doesn't actually know you outside of pageantry, who are you?
Ooh. So I'm actually I'm so interested in the media space, acting, podcasting, the media. But then besides media, I want to become a mining engineer.
Okay.
Or maybe a surgeon, But I'm actually into science besides the media space.
Okay. That is so amazing, What's the best part of exploring new ideas, and how do you come up with creative projects as well?
Mm-hmm. The best part about exploring ideas is getting to know yourself better. There's things you're not sure that we like, and as you explore your ideas, then you're able to say, this is not aligning with me, this is not aligning with the pageant I'm in, So it's easier to know what you are and growing towards when you explore about ideas. And then also with creativity, usually it's just a matter of research. You can check videos that align to what video you're trying to create and come up with your own ideas from there. I feel like one thing leads to another.
Yeah, that is so profound. What advice do you have for someone looking up to you in the pageant industry, or could be in life in general?
Just planning and just do it. Contemplating and just thinking about doing things instead of implementing them is not really gonna get you far. So whatever you want to do, try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you tried at the end of the day.
Yeah. That is amazing. We wish you all the best, when you're Miss Teen, Gauteng, hopefully the next conversation that we're going to have, it's a different story, right? Maybe to someone who wants to collaborate with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Both it's just_Bathabile. And with my models and any directors, you can find me on model_Bata.
That's amazing. So what's next for Bathabile as a Miss Teen Gauteng?
What's next for Bathabile is to living an amazing impact on her community, you know, and not just her community. As she goes on to other pageants and bigger pageants, I want to be provincial, you know, I want to be able to leave an impact on most provinces and not just my community.
That is so amazing. Wish you all the best in your pageant journey, and also the pageant. When is the pageant, and where can people buy the tickets as well?
On the 21st of May, and if you go to Nasin Gauteng on the Instagram page, there's a ticket website.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the Safe Space. We wish you all the best in your pageant journey. Hopefully, the next conversation that we're gonna have with the crown on, right?
Yes, 100%.
Right. If you want to be part of the KJ Real Talk podcast and create a healthy and healing conversation, make sure you hit us up, the KJ Real Talk at gmail.com. Don't hesitate to come in here through conversation